Hello, Lorraine here. It is Wednesday. Happy hump day. Do we still say that? Is that a thing still? I'm not sure if it is. But anyway, glad you're here. Thanks for joining me. And who else is joining me today is David Green. I hope he has his cape. Now, if you're a travel agent who sells G Adventures, you'll know what I mean. But without further ado, let me introduce this morning David Green. Hi, David. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to meet you, Lorraine, and thanks for inviting me into today's session.
Yeah, no problem. Well, you and I, we follow the same kind of paths in some ways, even though we're not in the same type of industry, we kind of are in a way. You are so big on supporting travel agents. G Adventures has always been well known as a big supporter of the travel agent, and I love that. And really.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we've been in business for 30 years and we wouldn't be where we are today without the support of our travel agents. And many people in the business have came from a travel agent background as well. So we kind of, know the importance and the great job that travel agents do for our mutual travelers.
Yeah, I go to a lot of conferences, and it's funny because we always look forward to seeing the G Adventures reps because they'll always come in with gifts. And us travel agents, right? We love these little gifts, come home with swag.
Yeah.
My daughter grew up with swag, but the G Adventure swag is always the best, never mind a little, a fridge magnet. No. We get capes.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So we end up feeling like, superheroes. But I think that's the thing. You make us feel like superheroes. You make travel agents feel like superheroes. And I don't think there's very many superhero feeling travel agents out there at the moment. I think the feeling, certainly for me, and I mean, I'm doing very well in other things, I still feel like, don't put me near to the edge of a bridge because it's just so depressing. I'm anxious. I'm nervous. I'm afraid to talk about travel. And that's my job. I talk about travel on Cityline. It's my job. So yeah. How do we do that?
Well, the first thing, and I swear this is not a setup, but you talking about being the hero, we actually refer to us as the sidekick to agents. Like, we want the agent to be the hero and we're your sidekick. So we want you to feel special. We want you to have all the knowledge and be comfortable when you're talking to your potential clients. So the fact that you're talking like that is amazing. That makes me so happy right away. And we have lots of swag. Like, we do things a little bit different. One of our core values is embrace the bizarre. I do have a cape. It's in my cupboards behind me there. I wish I'd known that you were mentioning it, and I might even have worn it. I have a purple suit, like many of us have those cool suits as well. But as much as we want to be memorable for all the right reasons, genuinely, we want you to be set up for success. So we want to make sure that you have the tools and all the information that you need to sell G Adventures products.
I want to see that. I want to see that purple suit. But you know what I want to see? I want to see the kilt. I think you should have a purple kilt.
I do have a purple kilt.
You really?
Yes, I do. Yeah. So I should maybe wear that in one of the next times we catch up.
That would be very cool. So let me ask you a question. There's so much uncertainty right now. We got to 2021, and you, like me, were probably thinking, okay, where's that champagne? Because I'm going to pop lots and lots of champagne corks here. And 2021 is going to come along and it's going to save the day and everything's going to be fine again. And it was just not fine again. I was like, Oh, no. So is 2021 a complete and utter washout? Should we just not try and sell 2021 and go straight to 2022?
Absolutely not. And I love that question, Lorraine, because what I'm seeing and hearing a lot from people is there's this feeling that, for comfort and purely for comfort, let's look at 2022. But we need to look at the stats. Like, we need to be very mindful. COVID is still really live, like in our livelihoods just now. It's not going away anytime soon. but people are being vaccinated at a faster rate now. We're coming into a point here in Canada where, you know, up to 2 million vaccinations a week are expected. And the government is still saying that everyone will have a vaccination by September. Right. Now, if you look at where we are just now, you know, so I'm in my 40s, I had my vaccination last week. I also know that I'm going to get my second vaccination by August.
Yep.
So there's every probability for anyone when they've had their second vaccination, they will be able to travel when the government tells us that we can travel safely. And it's coming. It's going to come very soon. And there's so much pent up demand. So don't be looking at 2022, be looking at the back end of 2021 and be confident with that, would be my view.
Okay, so let's say, and you're saying that, let's say I have a client. I mean, I don't really sell travel much anymore anyway. I've still got a few book groups that I do, but for the most part, we're talking to the travel agents who do book G-Adventures or travel in general, cruises and that kind of thing. If I was to talk to a traveler right now and say, oh, well, you know, why don't you book travel for 2021? And I would be seen as being very non-correct. It's too soon, people would say. So I want to know your idea of how we can open that conversation. What does it take? Is it a talk about vaccination? What is that going to look like?
Yeah, like I think I would just use stats, like stick to facts. So, you know, like there's plenty of surveys out there. And we do a regular survey every 2 months, check in with people and let, you know, the industry know sentiment and what people are thinking. And, you know, 30% of people have said that they will book travel when they've had their second vaccination. So we know that 30% of people will book and more likely travel in 2021 as soon as they're vaccinated. So pay attention to what's happening in vaccination rates in Canada, and then also look at your destinations that you sell. So, you know, like we're not going to be sending people to India just now. Like, you know, we can see that, you know, like there's issues in India, but if you look at the UK, look at what's happening in Europe, and their vaccination rates of their population, and the US as well for that matter, and Israel, are much higher than here in Canada. So they're the kind of safe bets, you know, like, you know, when you're vaccinated and you're looking at destinations where the population's highly vaccinated, these are the destinations that are likely to open up. And again, if I use Australia as an example, you know, low COVID cases, low vaccination rates, highly unlikely we're going to be going to Australia anytime, because the government's not going to open their borders until their population's vaccinated. So it's about picking those destinations that you're likely to see open first. That would be my advice.
Right. And so let's say, I mean, I used to teach selling to college students, and I used to say, look, every day go out and put 2 business cards in your pocket or in your wallet or in your handbag. And I used to say, you know, try to give at least 2 business cards away. Well, of course, now, if your card is all about travel, long gone are the days where you could just, you know, immediately tell somebody what you do and then they want to ask you a question. Well, nowadays, I think the conversation starter is much more about keeping the dream of travel alive. Absolutely. And, you know, not even selling per se. So, for example, the other day I had my vaccination, my first one at Costco. And I decide I'm going to talk to a lady who's vaccinated me, and I'm going to talk to her about travel. I'm going to say, oh, you know, I'm having my vaccination. I'm really glad. I'm very lucky that I'm having my vaccination. And I'm hoping that when I have the next one, I can travel because I'm a travel agent and because that's what I do, right? And I keep it very positive. And then they ask you questions. And I think that conversation then starts. But there's no reason that almost every single person you talk to on a daily basis, as long as you stay positive, there's no reason why we can't talk about travel and then let them come to you, almost like you know, when you're going out looking for a partner, You want that law of attraction. If you go out there going, oh my God, my life sucks, everything sucks, all I've done in the last few days is cancellations, which is true. We have all we've done in the last few. But if we go out there going, gosh, I'm really excited that so many people are getting vaccinated now, and we're going to be able to travel, and this is great, and where are you going to go first? And, I think that's important, don't you?
I do. And you know what? The thing is, like, now more than ever, we need something to look forward to.
Yes.
So, like, my advice would be when you're having those conversations, and I love that example, Lorraine, just, finding ways to randomly bring up that you sell travel and having a conversation on how difficult it's been, or, these are important things. But for me, like, I've booked travel. I'm going to St. Lucia. I am going to St. Lucia at the end of November. But actually, that allows me to tell people that it's okay to travel. So as someone that sells travel, and confidently talk about what I booked. But I also know I've had my second vaccination. So now my conversation is, where am I going to go in September? Because November is too long. It was 18 months ago when I last set foot on an airplane, which is the longest ever in my lifetime. So now I'm looking at, well, where can I go in September? So I think that's important. And the other thing is, we've got great jobs working in this industry. Like, we sell dreams. So we've got to keep the dreams alive. So it's okay to be promoting travel. It's okay to be sharing destinations, flashbacks to when you were in a previous destination. Keep talking to your clients around that, because again, know that there are people out there ready to book.
Yeah. And if you don't get the booking, somebody else will.
100%. That's what we're seeing now. We're seeing that we're taking more first-time clients now, and we know it's because we're running trips. Like, we ran our 100th trip just the other week there, since September. And people can see that we're traveling. So guess what? They want to get on a G Adventures trip because they know we're traveling now. So
yeah. And they know that you're traveling safely. You've not had any issues, and people are watching that. And so, as a travel agent, one of the things that you can do is you can not necessarily promote the travel, but almost ask them to be coming to you. What is it that they want? Maybe they want just free advice. Give them free advice. Ask, hey, if you have any questions, feel free. I'm trying to keep on top of all the things that are changing. I'm trying to keep up with all the advice that we're hearing from the government and from travel companies. I'm learning, I'm listening, I'm on webinars. I was on a webinar with you right before I'm learning, I'm listening, I'm finding out what they're doing. So please feel free. Here's my card. I'm here for you if you want me. And then they may call you for free advice, and then they'll say, hey, can I book that? I'm going to book that. Can I do that? Absolutely. Yes, you can. Yeah. So
and can I just add there, sorry, Larry, like, they're looking for free advice. That's an interesting concept in itself, because a travel expert or a travel professional, it's your job. So, you don't need to give away free advice. Like, you need to remind your clients that this is your profession. So, come to me, I'll give you that advice. But in return, I'm hoping at some point you will entrust me with a booking. And use the last 18 months to talk around clients that have been stranded and they need to find their way home because of COVID, or they need help working with a supplier through their terms and conditions. So, sell the fact that you're the expert, that you're there to help, and use this experience to gain new clients through your experience.
Yes. And ask for referrals too. If somebody else is looking for travel, give me, and it could be, and the only reason, I always say I don't get out of bed for $1,000, but I think at the moment it could be that might be your way in, Call me if you need help. I have a lady who got stuck in Morocco last March, and I helped. She found me through Cityline, and she called me and she said, we're stuck. Nobody's answering the phone. We can't get through to anyone. I know we didn't book with you, but can you help me? And I helped them. And I know that they will be a future client.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's okay to just give a little in order to get that. But then when they come back to you, yeah, charge a fee. I think we've all learned now that fees for service and that sort of thing, it's what you do. You're valuable. You deserve to be paid for what you do, and that's a whole other kettle of fish for another day. But
and
the value.
And I'm not saying you need to charge a fee. What I'm saying is, if you're given free advice, it's okay to tell someone, you do know this is my job. I'm giving you advice. Come back. If you find this useful, then please use me.
Please use me. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also going out with that confidence. We have to be that thought leader. We have to be prepared to say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go out there. And I'll say to people quite openly, I mean, every day I post something about travel, and I'll say, listen, this is my job. I'm not saying travel today. I am not for 1 minute saying the government is saying this and I don't agree. No, not at all. I agree completely. Well, actually, I don't agree, but I am complying completely with what we have been asked to do. We're not traveling at the moment. But what I do want to say to people is that right now is the time to look at booking, because what will happen is there will come a day. Do you remember? I'll give you another example. Do you remember the beginning of this? All of a sudden, toilet paper was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Right? Now, there was a few little murmurs of, toilet paper's running out. If we had gone then and got toilet paper, we'd have been fine. And instead, we're driving around 4 or 5 different towns to find blooming toilet paper and ending up having to use kitchen roll, which then sold out as well. So I think that what we need to look at is past history. We know several things. We know that vaccinations in other countries, and we, like you said to me yesterday, other countries were watching, right? So we know that vaccinations are coming. We know that they're doing well at the moment with vaccinations. It's catching up. USA caught up real quick. Once that happens, people will want to travel. But if everybody wants to travel, it'll be a bit like toilet paper.
Yeah, and we're going to come to a point where there'll be real issues with demand. So the more we get a runway to seeing what forward bookings looks like, then businesses can start to then build up inventory to meet that demand.
Yeah,
we're coming to a point where there is so much pent up demand that I am convinced, and I am an optimist, I'm going to put that out there, I'm a positive thinker, but I think there will come a point where a lot of people are going to be ready to go very quickly, and the question will be, will there be the inventory for it? And I don't think there will be. So the sooner we get onto this, the better. Yep. And if you're that travel agent and you want to be that hero, and you want to get one of your clients on a holiday, then you want to be doing that now. And use T's and C's to the benefit. Put them on something for September, October, and know that you can cancel and push it back if need be. Yeah. But if you wait until August to put someone on September, October, you're probably not going to get them on that trip. That's what I predict.
Even the expensive trips like the round the world cruises, there was a river cruise that came out, and it was a 7 river cruise for about 140 days. Or I don't know. It was long. Sold out within a month. Cruises sold out so quickly. Tours that you've got are selling out real quickly for next year. There's already some of the tours that are sold out. So I think inventory is a huge thing. And if people want something specific, like you said, use those terms and conditions that are the most favorable I've ever seen.
Yes.
The cancellation policies and the future travel credits and the refunds and everything, they're the best we've ever seen, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like, take advantage of that and use suppliers that that are going to be by your side in the event that you need to make changes for your client.
Yeah. And I think as travel agents, one of the things I've decided to do is, like, I've got my Fireside Fridays on a Friday, and we literally just shoot the breeze. Yeah. We talk about travel. We don't say, oh, you should book this. We just chat. We just talk about anything to do with travel. Why? Because it's time to start the conversation going. We need to get people more comfortable again in talking about travel, so people don't go, oh, yeah, we kind of missed that. Yeah, we should have bought that, because it's time. But it's up to you as a travel agent. If you are a travel agent watching this, it's up to you to turn those conversations into a travel conversation and not a hard sell. And I know, even I've got a client right now, a travel client who is actually not a traveler, but they are a travel agency client that I'm helping. Even they are like, oh, I don't want to sell travel at the moment. Well, we're not saying sell. We're just saying keep the dream alive, so that when they are ready to book, you're ready to take that deposit and go for it.
Yeah, and look, and I would say it is okay to sell, because there's plenty of people out there that are ready to buy. And they are buying, and we're seeing every month our sales are increasing month on month. We're not at the same level as they were a year or so ago, but it is growing, and the demand is coming there. What we're seeing, though, is people are still booking out 10 to 12 months. And what I'm saying is, like, really, we should be more comfortable about booking travel towards the end of 2021, because it will open up. And we are traveling, like, we're going to have more and more tours on. So don't be scared to do that. And the other thing I would say is, you're always going to have that one person. So, as an agent, you might go out there, put something on your Facebook. You're really proud about the inspiring piece that you've put out there. You're brave enough to venture forward to promote travel. And that one person is going to be negative around, like, you shouldn't be doing this. Don't let that one negative comment stop you from doing it, because it's only one comment. And I guarantee you there'll be so many other people out there that are dreaming and ready to get on a plane again and experience travel, because it's what we love doing.
It's why we're in it, right? It's what we do. It is. I think I like to go big or go home. I have decided that I want to talk about travel again. So people were not coming in my door, and I opened my business. I opened my business 15 years ago, but I opened this building on April 1st last year. And of course, nobody's coming in through the door.
Yeah.
So now I've turned it into a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And now people will come in for a coffee, and then they'll go, oh, that's really cool. Oh, I really like that. That's, you've got a 7-foot gondola. It's going to be talking point. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that gondola is just like the real thing in Venice. Do you want to go to Venice?
Yeah, and I love that. And like we were talking about this yesterday. You've got a real entrepreneurial mind. Like, you're looking at a problem and thinking, well, I either sit here and accept the fact that I'm, not dealing with travel just now, or I can look at how I get around it. That's a great way. I've got friends in the industry that are travel agents that have come up with new and innovative ways to promote their brand, not directly talking about travel, but it keeps the conversation alive with our clients. I won't say who it is and what their secrets are, because they'll probably get them into trouble. But just think out of the box. Come up with different ways to stay engaged with your clients.
Yeah. And there's lots of people that are out there that are, fighting in the back end for us, like ACTA and all ACITA and those people that are really lobbying and everything, and that's cool. But there's also an army of us who has to also keep the back end going too. So I always say it's a big group effort.
Yeah.
The people that are lobbying the government, that's great. And the people that are going to keep the dream of travel alive, that's great. But we've just got to keep that momentum going, so that when it does come back, we're ready, because there's going to be two types of people. We've all been flattened. We're all startups now. Every single company out there is a startup.
Absolutely.
Everyone.
Yeah.
So you're all startups. You've all got similar amount of money, which is probably less than zero. And it's a case of, what do you do with that? You give a guy $1, him $1, and him $1, and you see who does what with that $1. And we're all in that same boat. And if you keep the dream of travel alive, and you turn the conversation into travel in a positive way, a lot of people also, another thing that I don't like is that they'll use their Facebook profiles to complain about the government, to complain about the situation, to moan about the situation, and to sell to their clients. Now, there are forums for that, right? There are a couple of Facebook groups where you can go on and go, oh my God, that's fine. But if your Facebook profile is your shop window, and in your shop window you put smear and horrible stuff, nobody's going to buy from you. So on the front end, smile and wave. Everything is great. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult right now, but we're figuring it out, and it's going to be good because we know it's going to be fine. And in the back end, you can go, oh my God. Because otherwise your clients won't want to feel like that they won't want that conversation with you. They won't want to call you and say, hey, how's it going? In the risk that you'll turn around and go, it's terrible.
Yeah. I know it's been a long time since we were all in conference halls, but no one goes into a conference hall, takes a look around, and looks for the miserablest person. Like, right. you look for the energy.
Yes.
Everyone gravitates towards like the positivity, or I certainly do.
Yes.
So for me, like, put that face on, be positive, talk about what's in our control, use the facts, as I said, like talk around, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know that the borders are going to be open by this point, but what I can do is look at what's happening in other countries. I can see what's happening where COVID cases have come down, vaccination rates go up. And I also look at Canada and look at us following maybe a few months behind other parts of the world. UK is an example. So that's what I do. That's why I'm very, very upbeat, in terms of travel coming back. And what's the worst that's going to happen? I'm going to book something in October. The government, even though I'm vaccinated, I'm good to go. They decide I can't go anywhere. Fine. I'm just going to push my trip back a little bit.
Yeah. We've done it before. We can do it again. At least if we've got something on the books.
Yeah.
Better than nothing,
Completely.
I've got a hair appointment that I've had on the books for months and months and months, and it keeps getting pushed back. And by the time I go, I think I'm just going to say, okay, cut it all the way back to the gray, and we'll just leave it as gray. And that's it. But it's what, like you said, what's the worst that can happen? But I think a positive shop front. This is your shop front. Yeah. Whatever you project to your client is what they're listening to. This is what they see. If you go in there and you are negative Nelly and miserable and all of that, you're not going to sell anything. I got on a conference the other day, and like a Zoom call the other day, and I burst into tears. And I never do that. But what happened was, I was in a group of people who were all business owners. We were all in the same boat. And I wasn't talking to clients. I was talking to other business owners. How can we help each other? And I burst into tears, and I absolutely never do that. And it was the weirdest thing, because it was almost like I wasn't in my shop window, and I can be, who I am. Mm-hmm. And it just got me. It was a bit like sitting in a doctor's office, and they say, how are you? And you go, I'm not very well. It was like, and it took me by surprise. And I think it took my friends by surprise, because I don't think they've seen me other than, life is good. It's okay. We're going to get through this. Don't worry, But I think we all feel like it's difficult. Every single one of us, there's not one person out there that, unless maybe you're a realtor around here, but not many out there that's having a fantastic year. And even those who are having a fantastic year are not really having an amazing year, because they don't have anywhere to go out for dinner and celebrate anyway. They don't have any vacations that they can book to go and celebrate the fact that they have financially having a good year. So I don't think anybody is having a good year. So let's remove that out of the room, take away that elephant, and then say, okay, what are we going to do when it's all over? Because it's going to be over and we're going to be able to travel again. So let's look forward. Let's enjoy that planning. You know, when you get married, are you married or
long-term partner?
Right.
Yes.
So, you know, I've had a lot of brides that when you start the planning process, you're in that moment of, oh my gosh, I'm getting married, you know, and in the whole like 2 years, you buy all the magazines, you do all the, you know, you watch all the shows, say yes to the dress and repeat, you know, because you're excited about that particular thing. And I think now we need to start looking at that in the same way as travel. We need to start saying, right now, we're not saying book travel, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about where we want to go. Let's talk about when we can go out for dinner. Let's talk about what that looks like, what your dreams are, where you've been, where you want to go, right?
Yeah, I said it before, like give yourself something to look forward to, you know, like put something out there. And you know, maybe it's not travel, maybe it's thinking about when the restaurants open back up again. And I want to go back to one other thing that you said, like, you know, when you were saying that you kind of broke down, tears, not used to it, you know, there's strength and vulnerability, and we do need to lean on one another. Yeah. And, you know, I can certainly speak for my team at G Adventures. Like, if you need to talk to someone just around inspiration or like what is that next thing, then come through to your GPS, talk to us, we're there for you. And I know I'm speaking on behalf of all the BDMs in the industry, you know, like we are all in this together. It sounds very cliche, but our strength is getting through this together. And you know, and I think we've done a great job to now. The one thing I would say is every time we get vaccinated, and I'm sure we're all seeing this in our Facebook pages and our, you know, Instagram and LinkedIn, promote the fact that you've been vaccinated. You know, share that information, because the more people that are vaccinated, the quicker we get out of the current predicament that we're in just now.
100%. Get that out there. Get the vaccination, get the shot, tell everybody you got the shot. And maybe, you know, I've said to people to tag me in it. If they put it out there, tag me and I'll tag other people, because it's all about promoting the fact that we're all getting the shot. And the reason, apart from we want everybody to be safe, and we need a larger number of vaccinated people in the country in order to start to get that level of herd immunity. But we all need to get vaccinated. Now, I was listening this morning, and I do have some information that's very interesting, especially if you're a travel agent. One of the things that's come up in the last few days is what happens if you have a vaccination that is not recognized by the country that you're going to. So let's say, for example, I have the AstraZeneca vaccination, but in the States, it's not FDA approved. What happened then? Is there going to be a vaccination hierarchy? Well, company that I was listening to this morning are doing it very similar to weddings. If you are legally vaccinated in the country that you live in, that vaccination will be recognized in the country you're traveling to. And that's what they do for weddings too. So if you legally, so I got married in different countries. If you legally get married in a different country and you come back to Canada, you are legally married in Canada. And it's the same thing for vaccinations. And I love that. I think that is fantastic. It means that we will be able to travel with the vaccinations that we're getting right now.
Fantastic. And there's more and more information like this that's coming along each day. Justin Trudeau announcing yesterday for the first time really that vaccination passports or health passports are likely to be a part of our future. That's great news for travel agents, because we've been talking to health passports for many, many years now. So great news.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. And then I did an article about it yesterday, right after he actually I'd already started writing it, and then Justin Trudeau announced that yesterday. So it was very timely, and it's there on my LinkedIn if you want to go find it. But yeah, it is coming. The boom is coming. We are going to be absolutely busier than ever. I'm going to be not able to sell very much coffee because I'll be talking about travel all day long. And very, my energy is usually high anyway. So can you imagine me on 5 espressos because it's really good coffee? I'm going to be like, you want to travel? Yes. I'm going to be like wired. I'm going to completely go nuts. But no, I think it's coming. Get ready for it. Be ready. Redo your website. Hire people. Don't fire people. Hire people. Hire marketing companies. Hire the extra staff you're going to need to get this back up and running, and learn everything you possibly can that you can. Learn everything you can. Just go into the whole thing of the protocols and the everything that you need. This is something that we need to do as travel professionals. We need to be educated, and I know it changes all the time. I know it does, but we should be learning every single day and know what's coming and be able to advise if need be.
Yeah, you use this time when it's maybe a little bit slower to set yourself up for success. I'm going to do a selfish plug here. Apologies, Lorraine, but we've invested heavily in Sherpa, which is our online booking system, over this last year. We've also updated it with our agent backpack. And in that agent backpack is self-paced e-learning modules. So we know that there's a lot of Zoom fatigue out there. That's right. Okay. Use the e-learning platform that we have to learn about destinations or travel styles, and be certified as a agent of change with G Adventures. And when you do that, it also gives you discounts off trips. So we have a 50% off preferred agent discount program as well. So you can get yourself on a G Adventures trip simply by doing some e-learning and taking advantage of our discount program.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's brilliant. And as we said earlier, different countries are going to be the places to choose. Vaccination is going to be key. Fully vaccinated. Cruises. Somebody just made a comment here about cruises and about how, in their opinion, it's not safe. Well, there are going to be flights and cruises and locations where, in order to go there, you need to be fully vaccinated. And I think the biggest thing about vaccination, for me anyway, is that they are proven to be 100% effective to prevent death and hospitalization. And the hospitalization is also something that's going to save other people, because other people need the other operations that need to be done, and not to take care of people in the hospital. So a vaccination isn't a silver bullet. However, it is definitely a step forward, and it's definitely a positive thing. And yes, we will probably be wearing masks for a long time to come. So be it. Yeah. That if this is our new normal, we embrace whatever we have to embrace. And as I say to my children, we have 6 children. As I say to my kids, we'll deal with it when it happens. We roll with the punches. That's what human race is all about. We change, we evolve, we move with the times, and we do things. Do you remember the very first phone you ever had? I remember the very first cell phone I ever had. I'm a lot older than you, but we move with the times, right? It's just the way that the world is. Did we ever think we would be back on a plane after 9/11? No. here we are, wanting desperately to get back on a plane. So things will change and things will evolve, and we just have to move with those times and to keep those dreams alive. And there will be people who say, I'm not traveling. I have a client used to spend $500,000 with me a year, and they've said, we will never travel again. Okay.
Yeah. And they may think like that just now, but they probably will. Like, let's be honest. Like, I think like there's so many people that are just beaten down. It's been an incredibly hard time. But I would also just say to agents out there as well, we surround ourselves with people in this industry. So, like, we've got friends, we're a very close-knit community as travel agents. So we're hearing people about the hardships and how hard it's been. But there are other industries that are thriving. There are plenty of people that work in other industries that haven't had their income affected the way our income's been affected. They've not been able to travel. They've not been able to go to sporting events, restaurants, bars. They've been saving. There's going to be a lot of disposable income with people looking to do big bucket trips. So again, I appeal to people, don't just look at what's happening round about you. Be positive and look at those opportunities that are out there, because there are plenty of them.
There's definitely, go and find those people that have continued to work throughout this, because believe me, they're sick of wearing, I know Keith is sick of wearing a mask every single day. He's been at work every single day. He hasn't had a day off. He's desperate. He's asked for time off, but he's desperate to get out of the country again. We travel a lot. So he's desperate, although with a new coffee shop, maybe we won't be traveling anytime soon. But he's definitely 100%. And, that people have the money because they've been saving, like you said. So there are definitely people who are going to want to travel, and to travel in a small group like you do, like G Adventures. You also have that feeling of a little bit safety in numbers, because you've got the CEOs there who take care of the group, the small group that you're actually traveling with. So let's say something goes wrong. You're not on your own sitting at an airport thinking, gosh, what do I do now? You're actually with somebody who's going to be able to give you some help while you're there. So that's a very important part. I think I definitely want to go on one of your G Adventures. I think I would choose either the barge in northern France, or I would like to go to South America. I think that would.
Two great destinations, and the Burgundy River cruise is on my bucket list for sure. I'm looking at Costa Rica just now. We've seen a lot of interest for Costa Rica. Obviously, lots of outdoor space. We've successfully been running trips, so that's next for me. But the other thing I think you might like is our sailing product, Lorraine. We've like sailing in the Mediterranean, maybe.
Oh yes. What's the accommodations like? I didn't really see on your websites there. What different types do you have? Like different levels of accommodations? I'm a bit of a princess, David.
Well, like what I would say is that each boat has got different accommodation types, but typically it would be like, most of them are 8-person, boats. So like 4 twin cabins. So if you're traveling with your husband, great, nice. Most of them have their own bathrooms and whatnot. But they're not big, luxurious cabins. Like we are talking about there for the good time and the open seas, less about the walk up buffets and champagne. That's not really what we do. As I say, I'm going to St. Lucia sailing with some friends in November, and I can't wait for that.
I would be amazed. I would love that. And what about the groups that you have when they do, Costa Rica or places like that? What's the accommodations like for G Adventures then?
So it varies. I mean, most of them are like comfort levels of trips. Like truthfully, like we don't work with big chains. Like we are very much about local experiences. So, for me, the accommodations are always clean, tidy, presentable, very comfortable. They'll have all the amenities that you'd expect. there to be, but we tend to focus more on the experience, like, and what you're going to do in destination, because let's be honest, like, how much time do you actually spend in accommodations?
Yeah.
What I would say though is, like, all our trips that are running now, like, we obviously work very carefully with all our suppliers, and I've put in place lots of extra measures to ensure that when people are traveling with us, they're traveling safely. So yeah.
So before I let you go, one of my biggest things is always about sustainability, sustainable tourism. Like the coffee here, it's got to be fair trade or direct trade. It has to benefit the farmers. And one of the biggest things that I love about G Adventures is it's all about the giving back. That's how you kind of started in a way. And it's all about taking care of the local people and giving back and sustainable. So talk to me a little bit about that before you go.
Yeah, so I mean, like, we love changing lives through travel, and it is all about, responsible tourism, community tourism. And for us, it's about, ensuring that wherever we travel to, most of the travel dollars that you pay in that trip stays in the destination. So we use, local suppliers, the vast majority of the time, so that the money stays in those local communities, and you get a very different experience. So traveling with G, it really, you get a fully immersive experience in the destination that you go to. You mentioned our CEOs. Our CEOs are our chief experience officers, or in some other companies, you might know them as a tour guide, but they're all local. They have local knowledge, and they have, they're just amazing. Like, every G trip that I did, even before I joined G Adventures, you come back away with, like, genuine friendship, and a completely different experience than you would by going on a big bucket list tour. You really get that first-hand experience with G.
And how many people are on the tours?
So it varies, but just now it averages about 12. So it's a small group, so you'll get to be up close and intimate with the other people on your tour. And that makes for great friendships. Every trip I've ever done, I come away with more Facebook friends, and you regularly see people that start talking about, right, where's the next trip we're going to go? Where are you going? And so yeah, that's kind of cool. And you don't necessarily get that if you go on a cruise, or if you go on a big coach tour. It's a very different experience to what we do.
I did a few masterminds of travel trips where we were helping travel agents to bounce back and get back up and running at the beginning. And one of my favorite trips I ever did was to Portugal, because we all became wonderful friends. We came back and it was just such a wonderful experience. We're still great friends to this day, and we're still trying to figure out where we can go again and spend that week together. But sometimes I would hide on these trips that I've done in the past, and then on this particular one, it's just such a positive experience for everyone. I loved it so much. So, and I think a lot of the small groups like that, 12 is a perfect number, isn't it? You fit round the table, and
and you tend to travel with like-minded people. Everyone knows what they're going for, and the CEO does an incredible job of just bringing the group together. I've done several, and as I say, before I joined G Adventures, I used G as my own personal travel. Like, I did several trips before joining G Adventures, and they're all consistently great. Like, I've not had one bad experience, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a G t-shirt. Like,
So, last question: where is your favorite experience? Where's your favorite one?
Wow. There are so many great experiences. Like, I love, Peru as a destination, and like we are like the market leader for anyone doing trips in Peru. And we're famous for that. Antarctica, I went there for my 40th birthday. So I've done all 7 continents. Antarctica was special for so many different reasons. But the very first trip I did was Japan, and it was Osaka to Tokyo. I think there was 7 cities that we stopped at over like 11 days. And there's no way I could have experienced Japan in that length of time and fully experience Japan without, going with like the CEO. Like, you know, it just would have been impossible. So Japan, for the foods, the culture, how vibrant it was, the colors, you know, that would probably be my favorite one.
I would love to go to Japan. That's definitely on my list and on my bucket list. And I think that one of the areas we're having in the coffee shop is Japan. We're having a whole, you know, the two, what do they call it? The pagoda. I can't remember what it's called. We're having one of those, and then the Japanese garden, and it's nice. Going to be very cool. So I'm looking forward. Nice. Any last tips for travel agents as an entrepreneur, I feel like we've got to try to find as many informational pieces as we can. Lots and lots of reading, lots and lots of research and educating, because people are looking to you to be the leader in the travel. So from your side of it, from G Adventures, any last ideas as far as tips for them go?
Yeah, look, just try and brush aside what's happened in the last year and just look ahead. So, you know, look at what's happening with vaccinations, look at what's happening in other countries, start gaining your knowledge again around where your travelers are likely to travel to next. Use the time to train and learn about, you know, new products. You know, we've constantly been bringing new things out over the last year. You know, don't be scared to market, because if you're not marketing, someone else is, and people are booking. So if you're not selling, they're going somewhere else. Use companies like G Adventures, where we've got plenty of brand material. We've created a lot of videos. So use great content to inspire, and don't necessarily go with a book now, travel now, but book now, travel later. And then finally for me is reconnect with your clients and tell them about your story, but be positive. Make sure that they know that your lights are on. You're there for them when, you know, when then they're ready for you. And, you know, we've got a few months to get through, but you know, the light is there at the end of the tunnel now. We've just got to be positive, and you'll get through this. You will. Yes.
The light is definitely on. That's what we got to tell people. So the light's on. Tell people the light's on. Tell people we can travel soon. No, don't tell people we can travel soon. Tell people we can travel when they are ready. However, if they've had the vaccination, it could be sooner than they think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, when your customers start traveling, get their permission to share pictures, so that, you know, you can share their stories and the work that you've done to help people traveling as well.
Yes, and also travel yourself. You know, get it out there. If your friends travel, put the posts up. You know, let's start a movement.
Yes.
A controversial movement. Well, thank you so much, David. I've really enjoyed our chat, and I'm looking forward to trying a G Adventures trip myself one day soon, hopefully. And then I'll hopefully bring the cameras with me so that I can show everybody what it looks like too. So that would be amazing.
Lorraine, we would love you to do that. And thank you so much for inviting me on today and having the opportunity to talk to you and all your guests.
Well, you've really given us a lot of help, and we feel like superheroes when we talk to G Adventures.
Love it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.